What's up, Books and Brewskies fans? This is episode number 27 of Books and Brewskies.
What's up?
I'm here with Shane. That was Shane.
Of course, like always.
Always.
We're here to be talking about our introduction to the new book of the month.
Yep. New book of the month. It's August. This one's going to run a little bit into October, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
We got it, or not October. August, September.
September. There you go. Get your months right.
Shane and I are going to Lake Powell in a week.
Can't wait.
So
It'll be a party.
It's going to be fun. Anyhow, August book of the month, Extreme Ownership, How U.S. Navy SEALs Lead and Win. It's books by Jocko Willink and Leif Babin.
We're really on that leadership and Navy SEAL, run around here.
Yeah, no, I've kind of
Through
been on
months.
one. I've been on one for the last couple months. Goggins got me going. Now we're listening to Jocko, and next week I'm gonna get us some Jocko tea. He has his own like energy drink. It's like tea.
Oh really?
Yeah, so that'll be what we're drinking next week.
Oh yeah.
So
add it with the beers.
I don't know if we're gonna drink beers with it. I don't know
Mix
if that's
it.
smart.
Is it like a caffeinated?
Here, let me pull it up. Hold on. Jocko tea. Let's see.
Or is it just?
It's
like
called Jocko
tea?
White Tea, and
That sounds good.
it has. Well, it comes in like this is a tea bag, but hold on, if actually.
Yeah, so it's actual like he made his own.
Well, yeah,
tea.
you can have your tea, but then they have here's like the actual the drink, like if it was a Monster or whatever. It's Jocko White Tea, organic, zero sugar, white pomegranate tree, with natural energy, and it's 16 ounces. So that's what we're gonna do next week. Supposedly it's pretty popular. I've seen them around. I can't remember where I've seen them, so I don't remember where to go pick them up. So I'm just gonna order it. But
yeah,
let's see how much
Sounds
caffeine.
good.
37 milligrams of caffeine. It's kind of
so
weak.
not that much.
Not that much at all. Anyhow, back to the book. So I've started listening to it a little bit. We're listening to it on Audible. Or I am. I don't know what Shane's going to do, but I have the hard copy as well.
I'll do audio. I'm still trying to finish up David Goggins. It's long.
It's like 10 hours, like 10, 11 hours long.
So
this one,
I'm still running through
I'm
it.
pretty sure this one's like 10 hours as well. It's like 9.5 to 10 hours. Yeah. So I've been listening to it when I've been working out. Ironically, I don't know why. I just kind of got bored with my music. But so basically, just a quick recap on this one. I lost my summary because I was looking up Jocko Fuel or Jocko Tea. But here we go. Shane, what do you got to say? What do you have to say about the book? What are your thoughts on the book so far?
Well,
like talking about it today.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's gonna give. I want to understand like now his perspective, hearing like David Goggins and being a Navy SEAL and everything like that, and then now hearing like Jocko's side. I want to hear. I know it's in like different circumstances, and then they were talking about like, I think him being in Iraq with like his buddy or something like that, and kind of going through that leadership. But I kind of want to hear like what his mindset is with like this whole leadership of being a Navy SEAL and kind of what he goes through and stuff like that. Hearing different perspectives, especially since the Navy SEAL, that name is such a high end. We look at it such a high end name that hearing different Navy SEALs perspectives is kind of cool to hear. Like at that, you top of the line being a badass motherfucker. It's kind of gonna be cool to hear kind of different mindsets of Navy SEALs.
So summary here. Extreme Ownership contains useful leadership advice from two Navy SEAls who learn to stay strong, disciplined, and level-headed in high-stakes combat scenarios. So that's just like a one-sentence summary. Essentially, so I've listened to the first, I think I'm an hour and 40-something minutes into it, 2 hours, we'll call it. Essentially, so far, in the first little bit, as Shane cracks open his Blue Moon Light Sky Citrus Wheat.
We'll get into that.
Yeah, we'll get into that here at the end. But anyhow, they're talking about how leaders are able to lead groups of men. They talk about...
Are they?
Shut up. They talk They talk about some different, like... scenarios of when he was an instructor at Bud's training.
Oh, really?
So where they saw, if we go back to the Goggins book, we remember how
that's what's going to be crazy is hearing him as the instructor at Bud's. And David Goggins talks about how he hates the fucking instructors at Butts.
Yes.
He talks about crazy. What is it? Crazy.
I don't remember.
Crazy. I forgot his name. Crazy something, and like that's his Bud's instructor, and he talks about how much he hates him.
So they talk about some different leadership type scenarios, more or less.
Yeah.
And I'll give one away. I apologize, Shane. I know you haven't gotten into the book really at all yet, but there's one situation where they're at Bud's training. It's during Hell Week, and they talk about the boats they have to carry. So if you guys have listened along with us and read David Goggins' book, Can't Hurt Me, he talks about the boats in Bud's training, how they have to carry him around. So I find out these boats are like just stupid, awkward to carry. Jocko talks about it like more in depth than Goggins did. And so, they're talking about how they're doing these races, and Goggins didn't talk about these races at all. So I was like kind of into this part. Like they're talking about these races. So there's like a whole like 2 or 3 hours on like Hell Week where they send these like they yell out these routes to the leaders of each boat. And like, okay, so you're gonna go up and around this and over this and around this, and you have to carry your boat here. Whatever it may be. And so boat 6 keeps losing. Like they lose every fucking race. They're just losing and losing and losing. But boat 2 is winning every damn race. Yeah. And so, you can hear, he's talking about how you can hear boat 6, everybody's just fighting against each other, just fighting and fighting and fighting, just screaming at each other, cussing each other out. Yeah. Whereas boat 2 is just like locked in and going, as well as the other boats. And, everybody's losing in here. And obviously they talk about the difference between winning and losing. They put a price on it. If you're a winner, you get to sit out the next race. So you get 10 minutes, 20 minutes.
Yeah,
just,
David Goggins kind of talks a little bit about that.
You get some chill time. Like, you can't sleep, but you get to sit out. And, like, obviously during Hell Week, you're up for days on days. Yeah. And then the losers have to do some stupid workout to kind of demoralize them a little bit and kind of break them down more. Yeah. And so they start switching up leaders of the boats in these races. And so they take the boat leader from 6 and put him in, like, 1 or 2 or whatever it was. I don't remember the number specifically. And they take 2's leader and put him in 6, and all of a sudden 6 starts winning races. Yeah. And 2 starts falling behind.
Shit rolls downhill.
And so they start talking about how, and I'll get into this in a second because I have another cool thing pulled up, but, and I guess I'll just, there's one like lesson from this in the first like little bit that Jocko, like it stood out to me. Yeah. And I've experienced this with work type stuff, coaches, whatever. Oh yeah. But there's no bad teams, only bad leaders. And so you look at this boat situation where you have a shitty leader in boat 6, but a great leader in boat 2, and boat 2 is locked in and going, and they're in sync. Whereas boat 6, they're fighting each other and saying fuck you to each other, trying to win this race. And you flip them, and now boat crew leader or boat 6 crew leader has to move to boat 2, where he's like, oh shit, I actually have to like lead a crew now, and stick with their pace and get them going, otherwise I'm fucked. And it puts him in a situation where he has to like get going, and come to find out this dude does end up graduating SEAL training, ends up having a great career. And they don't talk about Jocko straight up from the beginning of the book. It's like, we're not telling anybody names. We're gonna only tell names that like people know about or situations that have been publicized. So they talk about how they're changing names, they're changing scenarios and locations, so they're not giving away like actual Navy SEAL type shit. And so anyhow, if you think about this no bad teams, only bad leaders type thing, you can think of probably, and everybody listening can probably think of a multitude of times where you felt like you've had a really great team around you, but your leader wasn't on par. Yeah. Or you can even look into a time where it was yourself, like, oh fuck, I'm a shitty leader. Like I had a great team, but couldn't get my foot in gear and going.
Well, it's almost, I mean, just hearing that, it's almost like it shows how much power a leader can have over like the people around you, because from this guy switching from one boat to the other, completely not knowing the other crew, and then still winning and leading the race, I mean, that's a huge skill set. And I think a lot of people, like we've talked about, like in businesses and stuff like that, or some get into these situations and don't truly know what leadership skill is. Like that's a skill that you have to learn, and how to lead these people. And the crazy thing is like hearing that if you're able to take a group of people that might not be motivated at all, and then you have a motivated group, and you're able to still get the same results out of both, something you're doing is clearly right. Yeah. But like you said, like you need to have that top person and that top leader like actually be able to shine the light and get the best out of somebody in all different ways, but get the best out of the team. Yeah. And the hardest thing, probably for these guys too, but the hardest thing is like as a leader, you have to know what fuels this person's fire, because your fire can be something different than that guy's fire to that person's fire.
Yeah.
So that's the hardest thing as a leader is you got to know what ends up fueling these people.
Yeah.
And when you lead a team, it takes a lot of different aspects and a lot of different skill sets to fire someone up.
Yeah.
So it's kind of crazy hearing that.
It's cool because, Jocko and Leif, they have a consulting company, right? And if I'm following right, I might be saying this off base, but what they do is they consult companies on how to fix their leadership or get themselves. Yeah. CEOs will bring them in to consult and be
kind of like have you seen what's that dude? Undercover Boss.
Yeah.
Have you seen that? Where they put the undercover boss in, or like a Bar Rescue.
Yeah. Exactly. So exactly. I love Bar Rescue. It's one of my favorite shows, dude. I remember in college, I would literally get, I'd come home from practice one day and I'd go on Paramount Net or whatever, Spike TV was what it was back then. Yeah. But I'd get stuck in that damn channel for
still watch it
3 or 4 hours. Yeah, whenever
we
I
used
come
to
across
record it. My parents used to. We'd watch
that show.
He just comes in and just rails on people.
Everybody.
Are you fucking kidding? And people just don't know how to react.
His voice is so it's annoying, but he just it's one of those annoying voices where it's just fuck. I'm gonna cower up and figure this shit out.
It's crazy though. He gets shit done.
Yeah, exactly.
So
and you look back at those. Thing. Yeah, and you look at those bars that most of them succeeded and were doing really well, and then some of them went back to their old shit and obviously whatever. And so Leif and Jocko, they have a company. They go and consult with companies, and they start referring, and they use a lot of their Navy SEAL situations to guide and lead leaders of companies or teams or whatever it may be. And so in the first few hours of listening to this book, they've actually they've really focused in on, obviously they've changed names and companies just to keep people confidential, but they talk about a situation where, they came in, a CEO brought them in to figure out what the hell is going on in their sales department, whatever it was, or their technologies department, and how that leader, Jocko's talking to this leader, and he's I don't know what position he was in. He was the vice president of some division within the company, and he's talking through him. He's like, well, it's their fault, and he starts realizing the vice president, he starts realizing he's just placing blame and coming up with excuses.
Yeah, he doesn't blame himself.
Yeah, so then all of a sudden it's Jocko kind of guides him down this path to extreme ownership, basically, and that's their whole thing about taking it to themselves and taking ownership of a shitty situation.
Yeah.
And Jocko goes into a situation where he talks about a time they were over in Iraq. Where was it? It was starts with an R. I can't remember the name of it. But where he had to end up obviously having to take ownership of it, and it built more trust in the people around him, the SEALs that he was leading, his commanding officer and everybody above him. They put more trust in him because of that. So
yeah, I mean, that it's now that hearing extreme ownership and then relaying it back to David Goggins, how he talks about the accountability mirror.
Yeah.
And he's like at the end of the day, it's you that's the issue. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's kind of crazy how just off of that, then both, David Goggins going through the Navy SEALs training and everything like that, then he being a Navy SEAL, it's kind of crazy how they both have that exact same mindset of it's all back on you, and it's all back on your shit, all back on the way that you're perceiving things, the way that you're going about things. So I think that's crazy that you do got to take that extreme ownership about yourself, and then on top of that of just knowing when to point the finger and when not to point the finger. And I think a lot of leaders do that is they fail because they want to say this shit it's their fault, it's their fault, it's their fault. But when you're not on the same page, like you were just saying, that trust aspect, when the employees or when people around you don't see eye to eye with you and don't get to see you be basically put into the fire and you actually step up and make these decisions, you have no accountability, you have no trust basically from anyone around you. No, exactly. Which is tough. So I mean, I think that's huge, just hearing that at the beginning of leaders understanding how to go eye to eye with people around them. And it's crazy.
I look back at my time at Northern Colorado with Coach Collins. Yeah. And this motherfucker, and I do not respect this dude to this day. He's chill outside of the football, but
I have a feeling you're gonna say kind of like our coach.
he would come in after games.
Yeah, he just blames.
And he would come after games. And I remember this is when I completely was done with the program and wanted out. He came in after we lost to, I want to say Sacramento State at home.
Yeah.
And this dude comes in. He's like, I'm only here to put bread on the table and take care of my family. This is all on you guys. We do what we can as coaches during the week to prepare you, but this is your fault.
You just lose the whole team.
And he lost the entire team that season. They were done.
Yeah.
We had 8 or 9 guys transfer out of the program.
Yep.
After that happened, we lost basically the entire tight end group. The starting quarterback left.
Yep.
I mean, it was like, and you look at that, like you can take this to the business level.
Yep.
And I've dealt with situations there as well. But you got to be able to realize as a leader, like you got to look at yourself in the mirror. And this, I'm super hyped that we're kind of going through these 2 books. And this is one big reason I want to go straight from Goggins into this book, because there's 2 different sides to it, but we're going to start following along that same path.
Yeah.
And I think just being able to, like, being in leadership roles or being, like, working with kids and athletes, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be cool to kind of see how we can take this and apply it to our coaching or our leadership of these athletes and the kids that kind of look up to us. But not only, and also look at it ourselves as well. To an extent, like, not that we're not in tune with where we're at, but I think there's a lot of situations where maybe, at least myself personally, I can be like, okay, well, that was probably on me, and like fixing a situation and being more aware of it before it even occurs and being able to fix it. So
Humility.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's like I think you learn that a lot as like you get older, is know how to take the blame.
Yeah.
But then you realize coaches like that. That's how our Montana coach was. Our second Montana coach was the exact same way, dude. Like, we lost to NAU, and it was just like blame after blame after blame, and it was just some bullshit. And there was like clear, like, distinctive things of like why it wasn't working, like calls and shit like that. And we're like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, it has nothing to do on us. It's you trying to come in. And like one of the first thing he came in is like, you guys have a broken atmosphere. Like, we're going to change like basically the whole atmosphere of Montana. And then we're like, well, you just lost everyone, like right there. Like, already assuming and doing this, and you haven't even been here and don't get to learn what's going on. So it's crazy. So I think that's like, I don't know. It's just like weird seeing that even in the work world, even with just people around you. Like, the moment they point the finger, the moment you like lose the people. And then it becomes like first impressions too. And we talk about first impressions. And after that happens, it's almost so hard to regain trust back. Like, people just always go back to what you fucked up on. Like, what you were trying to blame, what you were saying about this and everything like that.
Yeah.
So I think that's as a leader, that's one of the hardest things, is like, you got to be on top of your game 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Every time. 60% of the time.
No, yeah, 100%.
No, but I mean, you got to be on top of it. And it's tough because you understand, I think the biggest thing is, if something does happen and shit hits the fan, that you communicate and you're honest with people around you, because people can read through the bullshit, and you're honest with your team around you, and then you say, hey, I'm going to take the blame for this, so this is what's happened, everything like that. Then you'll get more respect, because then you know that, shit does happen, but the more that you put it upon your shoulders and you say, hey, like, I did fuck up, like, this shit is my fault and everything, like, then people get in your corner and start to help you. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
Instead of telling them, they're gonna, they're gonna want to.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we finish up, obviously we're just kind of introducing the book and kind of what we're thinking about it so far. Obviously I've gotten further in it, but just 3 key points to kind of, as you're going through this, or as we're going through this as well, to kind of keep your mind on, and as we can take notes. And one of the cool things Jocko kind of talks about when he first opens his book is he's met with people and signed books that have just had like just notes in the margins and like sticky notes all over the shit. And so my plan actually right now is, if I get around to it, I hate reading, but I'm going to listen to it, and then I want to go back and read it and start just jotting shit down and like getting through the book and actually like highlighting and whatever. Yeah. But anyhow, number 1, a leader who takes responsibility for failure is vital to the success of a team. Number 2, pressure is inevitable as a leader. Remaining calm and effective comes from establishing priorities and taking action. And number 3, managing risks before they pop up is a key attribute of great leaders. And then looking at even more, there's 12 just short key points. Number 1 is extreme ownership. Number 2 is no bad teams, only bad leaders. Number 3 is believe. Number 4, check your ego. Number 5, cover and move. And obviously, you're going through the books. These are going to obviously make sense. So the first 2 I'm getting because I've made it through those first 2 bits of it. Number 6, simple. 7, prioritize, execute. Number 8, decentralized command. Number 9, plan. 10, leading up and down the chain of command. Number 11, decisiveness and uncertainty. And number 12, discipline equals freedom. I can't say this word. The dichotomy of leadership. So that kind of breaks down the leadership lessons from the book, and those 3 key points I talked about kind of give you an attribute of great leadership.
I like that last one. Discipline is freedom. Is that what it is?
Discipline equals freedom.
Yeah.
Which
we've talked a little bit about that, but like with we talk about like our schedules, day in and day out, and like that discipline of like wanting to go lift, wanting to do this and stuff like that. Like I posted this not too long ago, but it was like about people say, oh, you do the same thing over and over. Like you can say you do the same thing over and over and you do this, but it's something that you prioritize that like makes you better.
Yeah.
And it's like, how is that living your life? And you're like, almost I go back to that, like discipline is freedom for you. It's like you have the discipline to be free to do what you want and prioritize great things that you want to do.
Yeah.
Even though it's work, but it's freedom almost.
Yeah. And so I've over the last few weeks I've kind of had this like realization that us in our job, we do have a lot of discipline, but we also have a lot of freedom. And that's kind of like that literally kind of just put it into words there. What the last few weeks of me realizing is like, well, I worked on Sunday. Yeah. I didn't really work last Friday. I'm not really working tomorrow, but I'm also super disciplined in getting athletes in the building, in the gym, training the first 4 days of the week, and then giving them 2 to 3 days off so they can recover and get in it after next week. And there's times here and there where we have to go train on a Friday, which is totally fine. But the way we've scheduled out everything is like disciplined. Everybody knows we're Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. They get Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. We're back at it next week. Because literally all my guys train 4 days a week right now.
Yeah.
And so for them, their freedom comes after their 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m. lifts during the week.
Yeah.
And their freedom comes with that, and they understand that. And it's cool to watch these athletes grow up because you see those guys that are in high school and they go through college. And as they're going through college, that discipline equals freedom becomes so much more apparent as an athlete.
Oh, yeah.
Because you and I have lived this, day in and day out for being an athlete, not being coaches, right? That discipline factor really allows you to have the freedoms to do what you want to do, I guess, if that makes any sense at all.
Well, because those steps of like the discipline that you are doing eventually becomes like easier, and then it leads to greater things, and it does become like honestly more freedom, if you want to say like time.
Yeah.
Like you honestly start getting more time because you put in a ton of time to get this freedom, and then you realize that you just keep putting in time, but it's freedom to you because you're like, I'm doing what I want to do, basically, and that's freedom. You get to do what you want to do. It's
like what we were talking about before we started earlier tonight, how I was saying there's a few people I know that are up as early as I am every day.
Yeah.
You're one of them, and it's like that's a discipline that we've kind of drilled into our modes and want to do, and it allows us to have more freedom because we're up. You got people in our same field, friends of ours, probably waking up at 8 and 9 o'clock, rolling into the gym to train guys where we're up at 4:35 a.m. every day, and that's giving us an extra 4 hours, and then we're up till 10 o'clock. Like we're still living the athlete life in a sense, and understanding how to grind it out. But it's that discipline of being able to wake up and go to bed when you're supposed to.
Yeah.
And I think that some things people need to realize is wake the fuck up and go to bed. Stop staying up till 4 a.m.
Be woke.
Athletes. Stop staying up till 4 a.m. and then trying to roll into the gym at 7 a.m. 3 hours later.
I think,
Cough, cough, some of the athletes I train.
I think sleep is a big issue in this world. Yeah. You got to recover. You got to do what you got to do. But, all right. Well, good little talk there. that's the introduction. We are drinking a Blue Moon. We'll get the beer review out, so you guys can check that out on YouTube and everything. I'm not the biggest fan of Blue Moon, so
this is not even like a Blue Moon. This is a seltzer.
I know, the little light sky. We'll get the review out, so you guys gotta check that out to hear more about the beer and everything like that. But read the book with us this month. I know we're kind of halfway through the month. We kind of got pushed back, but it's fine.
It's all good.
So you can still take your time. Take your time.
This is our book of August.
Take your time and read with us and everything. I think, especially the ones who don't read books. Like, I was never a reader. Rita.
Never a reader.
Never a reader.
You sound like Bobby Boucher.
I was never a reader.
I was never a reader. Mama said
I'll never read it.
Mama said books are the devil.
No, I was just always more of a writer.
A writer?
A writer.
Writer.
That's why I said a writer.
Like writer. Okay, sorry.
Yeah,
I'm getting
like a writer.
Yeah, I got you.
No, like a writer.
Writer.
Ride around town on my little bike. No, like I would write stuff and everything like that. I mean, but no, I mean, like I said, I would never read, and then you start connecting with actual things that matter to you now, and it's a whole different mindset. I think when you're in school and everything like that, when you're younger, you're like, I don't need to do this, but now it's like you actually get a lot of stuff out of it. I still like the audiobooks better, so listen instead of reading, but
listening's better. This one's cool too because Jocko and Leif are reading this one, so
yeah, so go ahead, follow along, and especially do audiobooks nowadays. Dude, driving around and just listen, and you'll get some good stuff. I think a lot of people just don't want to do it. Take the first step and do it, and it will change your life in ways. Because there are some things, like, you could go through a whole book and literally you could say, nothing. Okay, 8 hours, I got nothing, but then you could say, like, that one page actually really hit me.
Well, it's like even the first two chapters of this book, I've already had that moment where it's like, fucking, there's no bad teams. There's just shitty leaders. You look at the Cleveland Browns. It's just a couple of things. The Cleveland Browns aren't a bad team. They just haven't had good coaches.
That's true, though. Yeah, that's true.
Honestly, that's true.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's all you need. And sometimes that's all you need out of a book. You need one little page, one little paragraph that really strikes up at you. Yeah. And that could change your life. Absolutely. It could really change your life. So go ahead, follow along and everything, and then we'll get that beer review out to you guys, and we'll go from there. All right.
Stay hard.
Stay hard.
I don't know if you can say that with Jocko. That's not his thing, but
extreme
ownership and stay hard.